So, should you tell your current supervisor that you want to or have applied for a leadership position within the organization? That depends. And I'm going to tell you why it depends. But for those of you who don't know, I am Trina L. Martin. I am the Queen of Equality in Tech, and I help women of color in tech get past imposter syndrome, navigate the obstacles in the tech workplace, and create the career path that they desire all around. And I'm trying to get my screen to work in here so that I can see you guys and any comments that you may have. So, should you tell your current supervisor that you are applying for a leadership position within the organization? And I say it depends, and it depends on a few factors, and I'm going to give you the reason why I say it depends. Well, the first thing is, as women of color in tech, I get this question a lot, and there is no law saying that if you want to advance your career and you're applying for a leadership position within your organization, that you have to tell your supervisor, because you don't. It's your career. And that's one of the things that I learned in my 20 years in the tech industry, is that being in a male-dominated industry and being a woman of color in tech, that we have to take charge of our own career, and we don't have to wait for someone to approve us and say that we can. So, is there a law that you have to? No. And for those of you who know, I am the advocate, and I always tell you that when you're interviewing for a job, they're not only interviewing you, you're interviewing them. And when you're in your performance review, to tell your supervisor that your aspiration is to go into leadership, so that they won't be surprised, and so that they know that you have goals that you want to reach. But let's just say you're working for a company and this position comes available. It's leadership, is exactly what you've been looking for. And you're like, hey, you know what? I'm going to apply for this. Well, go right ahead and do it. Now, do you have to tell them? It depends. It depends on, do you trust them? Okay. And when I say, do you trust them, I mean, what kind of relationship do you have? Do you have that kind of relationship with the supervisor where you feel comfortable in telling them that? You may have the supervisor that you're like, well, I'm going to apply for this, and I want to run it past them to see if they have any words of wisdom or any nuggets that they can give me, or any insight. So you want to know, do you trust them? The next thing is, are they an ally? Meaning, when you tell them that, you know what, this position came available and it's something that I really want to go for, are they going to encourage you? Or are they going to go, oh, really? Oh, I didn't know you wanted that position, or I didn't know, I don't know if that would be right for you. Are they going to be that person? Will they advocate for you on your behalf? Will they go to that hiring manager and say, you know what, I have a person who is on my team who's working with me right now, and they're interested in this leadership position, and I think they'll be a great candidate, or I think that at least they're worth your time to interview. So you need to really look at that and be aware of what type of person they are. And then my next thing is, you need to know and really discern whether they're going to help you or whether they're going to hurt you. Meaning, like I just said, are they going to be that person who's your ally and who's going to advocate for you and who's going to, encourage you and say, yes, I think you can do it. That's great. I want to see you progress in your career. Or are they going to be the manager that's like, say you apply for this position and you don't get it, so you're still in your current position. Are they going to be that supervisor that has an attitude when they find out that you apply for this position, because they're like, oh, now she thinks she's my peer, and she's working under me, and they're gonna make it hard for you. They're going to, have an attitude with you. Are they going to be that person? A great example of this is in my tech career, I had a supervisor who I didn't trust. We didn't have a good relationship like that. And he was getting moved to another division in the company. So his position was coming available. And my team was like, well, Trina, I think you should apply for this position. You would be good for it. So I was like, okay, I applied for the position, not telling my current supervisor, but knowing that the hiring manager would tell him. And when he found out, he came to me, he was like, you didn't tell me you were going to apply for this position. And I had to remind him, I was like, well, there's no law. I don't have to. He agreed, and he said, well, that just goes to show you what kind of relationship that, the relationship that we don't have. And I'm thinking, yeah, we never had this kind of relationship. Why are you surprised? Our interaction and our just the way we interacted with each other was not good. He was a manager that I just didn't trust him. He just wasn't that kind of supervisor. So those are the things that you want to really look at. So no, you don't have to tell him or her that you are planning to advance your career, because remember, that's your career. You're creating your career path that you desire, and you don't need anybody's approval to tell you yes or no. So are they an ally? Will they help you or will they hurt you? So think about those things when you're thinking about whether or not you want to share with your current supervisor that you are going to apply for this position. And if you are a woman of color in tech and you want help working through things like that, those obstacles and biases that we go through in the tech industry, and you want to have some help and some coaching on that, I want you to look into my private one-on-one coaching program, Tech Trifecta. I've been there. So I'm not someone who's reading about this or who got a certification, so I'm telling you about this. I actually worked for, in tech for over 20 years. So I've been there being a woman of color in tech, and my goal is not to only bring more women of color in tech, but to help the women of color who are in tech currently remain in tech. So if you are a woman of color in tech and you want some private coaching, please sign up for my Tech Trifecta coaching program. And also just know that be you, the authentic you, and know that you belong.